Tonight, it's the key to untold riches.
Did someone say untold riches?
They will do anything.
Hey look, it's Atlantis.
Brave anything.
That tickled.
Sing anything.
Patrick!
In SpongeBob's first ever TV movie.
Prepare to taste my wrath! Ooh. Ice cream!
AtlantisSquarepantis, premiering on Nick tonight at 8.
Okay, we need to talk. I have made it very clear on this channel that there are plenty of great underrated gems that I just haven't had the time or the urge to play. The biggest two examples, and probably my two most popular examples, being Mario Rabbids Kingdom Battle, Mario Rabbids Sparks of Hope. I beat both those games completely, all DLC included now, and I absolutely love them, so I remedied that case. But today we need to talk about SpongeBob. I know, shocker. And specifically, licensed games in general. You know the drill. I'm sure you've all been burned by one at some point in our lives. You walk into GameStop in, 2007, 2008, and you see a shiny cover with SpongeBob and the gang looking shocked and holding this glowing amulet that has an A on it. And you're like, wow, a new tie-in game for the new hour-long special, AtlantisSquarepantis. This will be fun. And then you pop it in to your Wii or your PS2 and, well, it's not great. I don't know if I would go as far as saying it's shovelware, but it's clunky and it's just not very fun. And AtlantisSquarepantis itself is honestly one of my favorite episodes of the show. I know the Sponge Boomers are going to come after me because it's not seasons 1 to 3, meaning it's terrible. I love this episode. I love its runtime. I love how it fleshes out Atlantis. I love having David Bowie in the cast, even though he doesn't sing. I love the music. I love having it be a musical because I love Wicked. I love Greatest Showman. I love Moulin Rouge. I love musicals. And having the music be pretty good, it was great. But looking at it objectively, this TV special does have a reputation. It is quite infamous. A lot of people didn't like that it was a musical. A lot of people didn't like that it was kind of a slow burn. But it is a character study. And it's not exactly band geeks, but let's just put it that way. So naturally, the video game tie-in was assumed to be bad. Just another piece of plastic to throw in the bargain bin. But, and here is the giant, massive but that I have been thinking about these past couple days. I recently picked up the Nintendo DS version of SpongeBobSquarepants AtlantisSquarepantis because I had never played it, nor have I played Truth or Square, and that is next. And I honestly don't even know why. Boredom, curiosity, I don't know. Maybe I just like the cover art. Maybe it was some person on Reddit that was talking about how underrated this game is. Or maybe it's because I found it on eBay for $6. Who knows? But I popped it in to my 3DS, which is definitely not modded, expecting to laugh at it and then just, get bored with it and stop playing, and it'll join the ever-growing library of games that I have started and not finished. But I didn't turn it off. I played the game, and I finished the entire game in one evening. And now I'm sitting here talking to a camera because I have to tell someone that this game is kind of fantastic. Like, unironically, genuinely great. So first off, context. The console versions of this game, PS2, Wii, blah, blah, were developed by Blitz Games. And they were fine. They were not great. They probably weren't even good. Standard 3D platformers, forgettable. Not near to the quality of Battle for Bikini Bottom or the movie game or Cosmic Shake or Tides of the Tide. But back in the mid-2000s, handheld versions were often completely different games, completed by completely different studios. And this is no different. The DS version was handled by a Japanese developer called Ultron. If you don't know Ultron, they were these wizards of the Nintendo DS hardware, and they knew how to make that dual screen potato sing. And the first thing that does hit you when you boot up this game is the visuals. This game looks fantastic, especially when you have some third-party hardware installed on your 3DS that utilizes the widescreen and upscales it a little bit. But this isn't lazy 3D, even the basic game. This is high-effort, stylized, pixel art. And every character, we'll get into the characters, has a 3D model. It's not Mario 64 where it's tricking you with the sprites to make it look 3D. No. All these characters are completely 3D. Everything is crisp. It has a weirdly polished and like mechanical feel to it. The sprite work for all of these characters are completely expressive, and their mouths even move during cutscenes. And when he idles, when he runs, the way that his legs blur, it feels way too good and way too polished for a Nintendo DS game. If it was a little bit higher resolution and a little bit more polished, it genuinely probably could have passed as a 3DS game. This game, and from everything that I've seen, Truth or Square as well, does not feel like a cheap tie-in. It feels like a studio looked at this license and said, okay, we have to make a SpongeBob game. We have to make the tightest 2D action platformer legitimately that might be on the DS. The gameplay loop is where I really got hooked. And there are some really crazy correlations that I made while playing this game. I went in expecting, I don't know, simple, run and jump levels, because that's kind of what I had seen. Maybe collect 100 spatulas, or shiny objects, or who knows. And sure, there is collecting. But the structure is surprisingly dense. It's almost Metroidvania Light / Donkey Kong 64. And you will understand what I mean by Donkey Kong 64 in a second. But don't quote me on that, because it's not like Symphony of the Night. But it has that DNA in it. You have control over many different characters, okay? It's not just SpongeBob and Patrick, which is my favorite thing about this game. You have SpongeBob, you have Patrick, you have Sandy, you have Mr. Krabs, and after you beat the game, you get Squidward. And you can swap between them with a little townhouse. And it is very similar to the swap barrel in Donkey Kong 64. You have to go back to it and you have to choose which character you want to be. But with this game, you always get two characters, because you have your character and then a partner which you can swap on the fly. And they actually matter. This is what drove me crazy, but in a really good way. And I talked about this in my Donkey Kong 64 videos way back when. In so many of these games, character swapping is just a cosmetic thing. They all do the same thing. They can all get to the end just fine. It just depends on who you want to play as. But no. Here, the level design forces you to engage with the mechanics. SpongeBob has his bubble attacks, and he can fit in small spaces, and he can inflate and get to high places. Patrick has the brute strength to lift and throw blocks. Sandy has the lasso glide, which feels so good, by the way. And Mr. Krabs can activate specific machinery, and he can open up chests, and he can cut through grass. And you can pick up, so let's say if you're SpongeBob, you can pick up Mr. Krabs, and then you use him to cut the grass. Let's say you need to get to a high spot, and you have SpongeBob and Patrick. You become Patrick, you pick up SpongeBob, and then you do the inflate ability, so it picks up SpongeBob and Patrick, and it all looks great on this graphics engine. There's a really, really nice rhythm to it. You're running through a factory level in Atlantis, or you hit a surprisingly beautiful location while you're trying to get these jewels to get through the continent of Mu, and it's just great. It flows so nicely. And the combat isn't anything super special. It's basic DS fare, but it's got a little bit of punch to it. It's not just jump on the head and the enemy gets squashed and dies. You're shooting bubbles. You're throwing things. You're punching things. It feels more like a run and gun fighter or shooter like Metal Slug. Obviously, very light version of that, and then just a standard platformer. I was struggling between 2.5D and 3D. I think whichever one you choose, it would work. The enemies have health. Some of them have a lot of health. You have a health bar. Why do the jellyfish have so much health? I don't know. But I love it. But it's not just the mechanics of this game either. It's the vibe. I don't know. Vibe is a terrible critique, but hear me out. The game takes place, obviously, in Bikini Bottom and then on the way to Atlantis. And the first thing that I love, again, I adore the AtlantisSquarepantis special in the show. I think it's fantastic and incredibly, disgustingly underrated. But this game adds a lot of context to the journey to Atlantis. And sure, you could argue that that's filler, to make the game a little bit longer, but I didn't mind it. I had a good time finally getting to Atlantis. And the artists at Ultron made Atlantis look really cool. It looks a lot like the show, obviously, but in a 3D plane. It's got this techno-organic steampunk meets future city aesthetic, and it's not just generic underwater rocks. There are pipes, gears, glowing neon lights. The color palette is surprisingly dark and rich for a SpongeBob game, and it uses these deep purples and cyans, and it just looks like there was a lot of love and passion put into this, because I believe that there was. And the music! It was great! I was fully expecting the standard, SpongeBob _theme.mp3 loop for most of these levels, and you definitely do get some of that, and some of that definitely doesn't fit the context of what's happening in the game at the time, sure, but then you get these tracks that are surprisingly intense. Like these techno, babble, industrial, whatever beats where you're fighting a giant monster made of gears, and it creates an atmosphere that feels slightly more serious than the show, which is a weird hallmark of Japanese developed licensed games. It's like they took the source material seriously in an action way, as an action property. Now look, I'm gushing, I know that. And I have to be real with you guys for a sec. It is a DS game from 2007, right? It's going on almost 20 years old. It definitely has its quirks. The touchscreen stuff, you knew it was coming. It's the DS. The developers were legally required to shove touchscreen gimmicks into everything. There are these mini games where you have to draw shapes or shoot jellyfish from your boat or shoot money at Mr. Krabs or tap things to open doors. And quite honestly, they're not bad. I think they are a nice break to the flow. I look at that as a good thing and a bad thing. It is a little nice change of pace. They don't ever overstay their welcome. If they ever got a little bit too long, I would definitely start seeing that as more of a negative. But I don't mind it. It's fine. It does stop the game in its tracks, right? It does. But I don't hate that. It can be a little annoying, especially because I did get weirdly invested in this story, even though I'm pretty sure I know how it ends. But it's like a charming annoyance. Like it reminds you of that time. Look, we have a stylus. Use it. And a lot of the touchscreen controls in the gameplay, like to switch characters. I didn't love that at first. It very quickly grew on me. I don't mind it. I think it's way less egregious than motion controls in the Wii. Donkey Kong Country Returns. And the boss fights. They're a mixed bag. Some are genuinely cool, screen-filling sprites that look like they took months to design. And others just ooze the hit the glowing weak point 3 times. But even when it's simple, the presentation carries it because, again, this game looks great for its era and its console. There's specifically this one mini game where you're in the magic Atlantis bus, and if you didn't know, the bus to Atlantis is fueled by music, and so there's a mini game where you are playing as Squidward and you have to it's a rhythm game. It's a rhythm base. You have to hit the notes at the right time. I thought it was a lot of fun. The thing that really stuck with me playing this in 2025 is just how much personality fits on this tiny little cartridge. I think about the modern landscape of licensed games. We don't really get a whole ton of them anymore. We get mobile gacha games, or we get massive AAA attempts. But every so often you'll get a winner, like, again, BFBB, or Cosmic Shake or Tide to the Tide. And I think this game, the B tier, weirdly good handheld port, has been completely lost. And that really, really sucks to me. AtlantisSquarePantis on the DS feels like a secret to me. I was looking for a video essay or a retrospective on this version of the game as I was going to bed yesterday, and it just wasn't there. There just wasn't one. And maybe there was, I just didn't look hard enough. If there is one, please drop it in the comments. I would love to take a look at it. But it feels like Altron knew that 90% of the kids buying this just wanted to see SpongeBob. But they decided to actually push the DS to its limits and make a competent game for the 10% of kids who actually cared about good game design. It's honestly surprisingly difficult too. I died several times. I actually died multiple times in a SpongeBob game. I fell into pits. I got swarmed by enemies. It definitely respects you as a player. And there is 2-player multiplayer. It assumes that you know how to play a video game. It doesn't hold your hand for 3 hours or 2.5 hours, 4 hours, however long it took me to beat it. So why make a video about this game? Why? Because I think this game deserves to be pulled out of the, quote, mediocre licensed game pile. Because it's not mediocre. It is actually a very solid, fun platformer that just happens to be wearing a SpongeBob costume. So if you have a DS lying around, a 3DS, or other means of playing DS games, give it a shot. Don't play the console version. Ignore it. Find the one on the DS that was made by Altron and published by THQ. It's short, it's sweet, it's arguably, you could say it's better than the TV special that it's based on, and honestly, that is a very high compliment that I can give because, again, I adore the TV special that this game is based on. So thank you, everybody, for watching me ramble on about a square sponge for 10 minutes, however long this has gone on. If you played this back in the day and I just unlocked a core memory for you, please let me know. I love having discussions about our upbringings with games and nostalgia, and I don't know, I feel like I'm the only person on earth talking about this right now, because I probably am. Don't forget to like and subscribe, become a member of the channel, join the Discord, and I will see all of you in the next video. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and take care.